Time is 9. I'm feeling fine. I feel better than I deserve. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings Sunday, the 6th of April, 2025. Two people on that I can see. Well, two people. I don't know who they are, but so nice to have you aboard here. We'll see how this goes. It's Teresa Panel. Hello, Jack and everyone. Hi, Teresa. Thank you for being here on this Sunday night. I guess a couple of people looked for us yesterday. We did mention on the Wednesday show and other times that we would be doing Sunday on the 1st and 4th weekend of April 2025. Donna is here. We have several Donnas. Hi, Jack. Welcome. Heather Feather joins us as well. Hey, Jack. Hi. Karen Phillips. Hi, Jack and all. Georgia Peach. Hello, Jack. Well, hello to you, everybody. Pam Donnelly. All very familiar names except Donna. We have a few Donnas, so I'm not sure where you're watching from, Donna. Jennifer Grimes. Hi, Jack from Indiana wants me. Lord, I can't go back there. All right, I'll come. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, okay. We had a fairly uneventful Sunday. Karen wanted to go grocery shopping, so we did that. And I'll tell you about Saturday night in Wilkes-Barre, PA in a little while, but we'll address our topic first, which is famous people go to Household of Faith. That's Pastor Bob Joyce's church in Benton, Arkansas. That's a question mark. Famous people go to Pastor Bob's Joyce. What? Famous people go to Pastor Bob's Joyce. Okay, take 3. See, when it's pre-recorded, you would never see that flub. Famous people go to Pastor Bob Joyce's church? Question mark? See, third time's a charm. I guess it was in a sense with Karen, who we're in year 15 now. You see her right there with her hand on her, well, it's not really her chin, it's her cheekbone. Gail George joins us. Rhonda Edwards. Hi, Jack. Rhonda from North Carolina. Pam Nisley, another Pam. Yes, from Montana. You're not non-stick, Pam. We're not sure about whether you stick or you don't. Nancy, and in memoriam, Terry Whitmore. Hi, Jack. Hello. Robin Roman. Hi, Jack and family. Eastern Ohio. Yes, I think I remember you saying that before. And me saying, well, when it comes to geography, I don't know my east from my west. Greg Hines. Hello, Jack. And on this great Sunday evening from Alvin, Texas. Alvin, Texas. I've stuck with my husband for over 30 years. She bought the poison 29 years ago, but she has kept it in the cupboard. Kept it in the cupboard. Grana G, hello, Jack. Grana G back on tonight. Well, that's great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. That's 39. Oh, look, my age, 39. Sure. And 11 likes already. Yes, please hit that like button. Be very much appreciated. And hitting the notification bell after you hit subscribe gives you notice when we come on with a pre-recorded video, perhaps. I got a few of those to get to. Andy is, well, he's been busy with his little studio over there and getting the junk out for cleanup week. Anybody have cleanup week in the month of April? Love to have some updates from anyone that was involved with the hurricane, those that may be in Arkansas or the state of Tennessee or elsewhere, I suppose. I didn't see familiar names in terms of Tennessee, where I know people live, but apparently, these hurricanes, they're uh, they're an equal opportunity destroyer, and so I know people have lost their homes and what have you. This is just a way of life. It's every year. It's almost every month of every year. And you can't say, oh, well, it hit Las Vegas because that's Sin City, or it hit the French Quarter because there's a lot of hanky panky going on there. No, it often hits the Bible Belt. Often hits the Bible Belt. That's the way it is. Paul Comfort, hey, Jack. And good evening to you, Grana. Let's do a little content for the people who just tuned in for that. You may have heard this. I'm just playing the audio of it. Let's see here. Where is that? It's not that one. Yeah, it's this one. Elvis is alive. Prominent figures linked to Bob Joyce. Talking about people that may have visited Household of Faith. I'll comment on the other side of this short audio. You might have seen the video. It's only a minute and 6 seconds long. And we'll have some things to say about it. Let's listen to that.
Elvis's pianist and producer show up at Bob's church. Joyce's identity has long been controversial because his church, the House of Faith in Benton, Arkansas, has attracted a number of prominent figures closely associated with Elvis Presley. They include Brendan Nielsen Murray, a singer who performed with Elvis, Elvis's cousin Billy Smith, and Steve Binder, the producer of the 1968 Elvis comeback special. Their presence and being a member of that church left the public wondering if Joyce had a deeper connection to Elvis. Not only that, but Angie Marchese, curator of the Graceland Archives and a longtime tour guide, was also spotted attending Joyce's church activities. More remarkably, Glenn Harden, a renowned pianist who played for Elvis, also attended church services, making Elvis's circle's relationship with Bob Joyce's church all the more remarkable. These signs, especially the presence of several people close to Elvis, have fueled speculation about Joyce's identity, raising questions about whether he had some mysterious connection to Presley. Elvis's pianist and producer show up at Bob's church.
Okay. People have told me about Angie Marchese, Graceland curator, being there. I hear that a lot. I hear Glenn Harden. But then there was that bass guitarist who I haven't seen on stage in a long time, Joe Murphy, who kind of looks like Glenn Harden. He wore bib overalls. So anyone you think that was Glenn Harden in bib overalls, that wouldn't be accurate. Glenn is rich, and he was the piano player on the Elvis tour. He's written many songs like Count Me In for Gary Lewis and the Playboys, wrote for John Denver and other people. So these are never accompanied by pictures of Glenn Harden. As I say, when Bob was playing piano, the guy who looks a little bit like Glenn Harden was next to him playing bass guitar. So right away you say, well, Glenn Harden is a pianist. And so you can eliminate that, and you can eliminate it on the basis of the bib overalls too. But Angie, I've heard a number of times, and the people have shown me pictures of a woman who is believed to be a former member of the Sweet Inspirations, which was Elvis's backup group. a guy came to the church when they were in the strip mall, dressed as Rod Stewart, deliberately dressed as Rod Stewart, wearing a gold jacket, the spiky hair. I don't know if it was his real hair or a wig. I think it was his real hair. And at the end of the service, Bob looked at him and said, I'm going to remember you. Remember, he's wearing a gold jacket. Bob said, I had a gold jacket once. And in 1957, Elvis did a number of concerts wearing a gold jacket with black pants, white socks, as I remember, black shoes, white shirt. And other times, too, in the early days, he wore a gold jacket. So people said that was really Rod Stewart, maybe Rod Stewart's son, and then the story switched to that was Barry Manilow, and I've never quite understood that one. Barry is in his 70s now, oh, well into his 70s, and I don't believe he's ever been to Household of Faith, you know. Um, Other people, perhaps, but there's never, it's always just something people say. Gene Ho uh, goes to the church, former campaign photographer for Donald Trump, and moved to Hot Springs, a farm that he bought without even being there and seeing it. He bought it through video pictures and through through a video. And since he's the editor in chief of the reboot of George Magazine, he knew that he had to go check out this pastor 45 minutes away in Benton, Arkansas, because they would want to do a story. Uh, he had heard the rumors that there's a guy in Benton, Arkansas that looks like Elvis and sounds like Elvis. So he went there to do his due diligence, loved the church so much that he and his family began attending Household of Faith. And they still do to this day. His parents have been there as well. Elvis is Bob, says Semi, who hits the thanks button for 279. Thank you, Sam, so much, 279. Buddy McDaniel is here. Hope all is well on this Sunday evening. Yeah, I'm in a mellow mood. But I will tell you about the Saturday events. And I do have video that I can put up. Maybe a few hundred people will watch that one, you know. I don't really have a polka audience per se, although Jimmy Sturr does a lot more than polka. But he is the polka king. J Cat, hello, Jack. Hi, J Cat. Marty, Jack, he is still there, but they never show him. Really? Well, see, in radio, you could have said that. All those years that I did radio, I was just a voice in the wilderness crying out for better wages. I never made the big money in radio. I never made the big money, period. But they never show. All you can see is the neck of his bass moving. The neck of his bass moving. He is still alive, but they never show him. Are you talking about the bass guitarist? Because I just haven't seen him on the stage. I haven't seen him, you know. I don't know what happened to him. But Glenn Hardin doesn't play bass. He's a famous pianist. And uh, so feel free to send me a clip of that video. But it's going to be him on the piano, you know, with a cigarette in his mouth. Well, not in church. There is that famous video. I should know the exact title to point you to it. I apologize for not doing that at the time. It's been a while. But there's a man who sounds very much like Elvis Presley singing in the shadows. I forget the name of the song, but it's Glenn Hardin that the camera is focused on, and he is playing the piano wonderfully with a cigarette in his mouth. and the camera stays focused on him, and at the very end, it starts to pan towards the singer, towards the singer is, and then the video just cuts. We never see the person who sounds very much like Elvis or Bob Joyce or Bob Joyce. Um, it's been out there for a while. So you realize, Marty, that he plays the piano. He plays the piano. He does not play the bass guitar. That's Joe Murphy. Jackie Taylor, hello, brother Jack from Mississippi, just celebrated our 47th anniversary. Wow, number 47 sounds familiar. Things that make you go, Wow, 47 years. I never made it anywhere near that number. 17, 7, and now Karen and I have been together. We're going into year 15. Bayou bantering. I like that. Yeah, I remember you from last week, I guess. Good Sunday evening, sir. Well, good Sunday evening to you. I see a picture of you there, very small. Lets me know you're a guy. You're a guy. Cindy G in Tennessee. I see the word tarot. I won't respond to that. I'm in East Tennessee. We are okay down west towards Nashville. It was a different story, right? And Memphis, right? They got hit, I believe. There was a place in Tennessee with the word die in it, and they got really pummeled. I think there might have been homes destroyed in that area. And, you know, there could be some death. Could be some death. We'll see if we can get a update on that. And of course, any of you who have a firsthand account, that would be wonderful. Jenny Hayes from Kansas City. Hi, Jenny. Is this your first time watching? Are you related to Robert Hayes from Airplane? He was fantastic in that. He did other things, but Airport 1 and 2 were his moment in the sun, so to speak. Vicky Weaver. Bob Joyce is friends with Donald Trump. Well, Pastor Bob Joyce last year, was it the years go by so quickly now? Was it 2023 or 2024? I did a video from Villa Roma Resort up in Callicoon when that was happening. I was at Poco Weekend. And I did a video from there that was when Pastor Bob was at Mar-a-Lago. Was it you, Sam Semi, that talked about, I guess it's Dr. Charlie Ward? I actually have something on him, some audio on him. I haven't begun the search of, you said, it was either you or it was Marty that said he did meet Charlie Ward at Mar-a-Lago. Charlie Ward, who I haven't heard anything good about. I don't know what you mean by that. It's probably best for an email, so I know exactly what you're saying. He does seem to be a media figure. He even has a Charlie Ward show, I guess, on YouTube or what have you. I just saw a little bit of it before broadcast time. So I'm not sure that Donald Trump was at Mar-a-Lago that weekend that Pastor Bob was there. It was a fundraiser. Pastor Bob gave the prayer, and he was there with Willina. He was part of the Patriot movement when Trump ran the first time. He's the one that Trump would holler at and wave. Well, I know who you're referring to. It's like any man that has a white hair and a beard is Bob Joyce in disguise, is Elvis in disguise. Um, Donald Trump made a joke about Elvis, and that's taken as a verbatim thing that he's there. Um, the man I saw behind him that they were saying, well, that's Elvis or that's Bob Joyce, or as some people feel, it's the same guy. Didn't really look. I understand that Pastor Bob, if he wanted to go to an event, might make his appearance look different. I get that, but you have to be real careful what you take as gospel, unless it's the gospel, because we had people saying that around January or February, JFK Jr. would replace JD Vance as vice president. These things kind of come and go, but I know that people feel that there is a link. Some say that Donald Trump and Elvis are cousins, but they never again give you any proof of that. So interesting. Um, I do believe that Donald Trump knows Pastor Bob Joyce. Yes. Um, So, Marty, what are you saying? The bass guitarist would not be Glenn Hardin, right? We know that Glenn Hardin is a very famous pianist, and he was Elvis's pianist in some of the '70s concert tours. So he doesn't wear bib overalls. He's better looking than the guy who played bass guitar there at the church, and I don't know. So I don't know what you're saying. Um, Elton John doesn't come on the stage and play the tuba. If he did, it wouldn't be Elton John. I don't know. Yeah, I know Trump knows Bob is Elvis. I would agree with you, Sammy, but um, you have to be careful. People just say things, sometimes. Because when I saw Joe Murphy, I said, "Yeah, I see the resemblance with Glenn Hardin. I see the resemblance." But I could also see it's like Robert Wayne Joyce and Bob Joyce. Um, you can tell the difference. Hi, Katina Swartzworth. I've been watching. I just got a chance to comment. Welcome, Katina. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So I would say, yeah, President Trump does know Bob Joyce. Now, there's another event coming up in May at Mar-a-Lago. Will Pastor Bob Joyce be there for that one? There's another event, and I think Dr. Charlie Ward is running that. I read that just before we came on air. Brenda Noyce is here. Welcome, Brenda. Teresa Lee Leonard. Not related to Robert Hayes, says Jenny Hayes. Have you seen your have seen your pod? Ah, yes, a pod. I think I'm just doing a show on YouTube called Worldwide Ramblings, or I'm putting up pre-recorded videos. Podcasts tend to be more of a interview type thing, usually guest in the studio or via Zoom. And there's so many people doing a podcast. I mean, everyone from Julia Louis Dreyfus to every political figure, Ted Cruz. I think it's called The Verdict. Interesting. That's my most popular video, The Verdict. The Verdict with Ted Cruz, and he has a co-host uh, who I can picture his face, and I can't get his name right now. And there's just a sea of podcasts, and all led by the king of podcasts, which of course is Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is number one with a bullet. I'm not sure if Alex Jones, what he does now, is more of a podcast than just being on for possibly hours at a time, that kind of thing. Um, Michael Savage does a podcast. I haven't watched him lately, so I don't know whether he's still doing his Newsmax show. I assume he is. Kind of broke away from watching Michael Savage on a regular basis, so I'll have to catch up a little bit. I see a little bit of Tucker Carlson here and there, but I really wish he would go on a regular network again. People will find him. They will, he could go on the Science Channel and people would find him, but it's got to be something Ma and Pa can just take the clicker and easily get to. They don't want an app. They want him on Newsmax, or they would love him, of course, back on Fox. That could easily be done by moving Laura Ingraham back to 10 o'clock, Greg Gutfeld back to 11 o'clock. He's supposed to be the king of late night. Well, 10 o'clock is not late night, really. You're not opposite the late night boys anymore. And then Fox News at midnight, which is only 9 o'clock for Trace Gallagher when he does it from Los Angeles. So put Tucker on at 7. That might be a good time. He'd be going against Rob Smith on Newsmax, but there's always going to be competition. There's not much on CNN, and there's no competition on MSNBC. They might as well fold up and do something else. I think at least MSNBC, Comcast, right? Is it Comcast or are they CNN? I confused the two. They're looking to get rid of MSNBC. It's a money loser, terrible ratings, and what have you. And it's not much better at CNN, and when you talk about going down below 200,000 watching you around the country, that's abominable. When Jesse Waters is in the millions and the 5, and Greg's evening show, Gutfeld, is in the millions, having less than 200,000, in some cases less than 100,000. It's almost like you're watching one of those obscure upper tier channels. Sandra Weber, hi y'all. Hello, Sandra. Steven Spielich is here. And Tessie is here. Hey, Jack and all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Charlie Ward is part of the Patriot movement for Donald Trump when he was running for the first time and the second. Yeah. So is he like the Republican version of George Soros then? George Soros. I love it that he spent a good part of that 1.5 billion trying to get Kamala Harris elected, and she lost in a landslide. A mini landslide. It wasn't incredible, but he did win all 5 swing states. He won the popular vote. Yes, that is right, Jack. What's right, Marty? You're saying that you agree that Glenn Harden does not play bass, right? I just try to figure it out as we go along in real time. Jackie Organ, winter on its way. Where are you? I know, right? They had some more snow in western New York. A couple of inches they were supposed to have at least. And I look at it's 46 right now. the forecast for this week after we've had some temperatures in the 70s and 60s, and everybody's ready for, things to bloom and what have you. But as they say, April showers brings May flowers, you know. It just seems like we're being ripped off here. It's a short enough time here in New York. There's enough things to depress you about living in New York, just the politics alone. Um, Not that I agree that that's how you're supposed to look at life, but in terms of we had a hideously cold January, February, nothing like South Dakota and other places like that, but cold for us. And so that was horrible. And now here we are in April, and we're seeing low temperatures this week predicted on a couple of nights to be in the 20s. And you're trying to get past these high heat bills and what have you. Things have gotten a little better since the January and February, but I definitely had to dip in my pocket and help Karen more because of the the high cost of fuel. And Tess is talking about the Tasmanian devil. It's one of those things that, I've heard of all my life, the Tasmanian devil, and I know nothing about. Nothing about. Jack, we had a couple of days in the 80s in the past week. Yes, yes. I'm ready for that. I don't want it to be in the 90s. I know in places like Florida in the summer, don't really want to be there. It's dangerous, it seems, to be in Florida in some spots. I think in Central Florida, are you okay? I've never heard of Disney World being destroyed in a hurricane. But other places like Port St. Lucie last September, uh, homes were destroyed. There was a flooding issue too, and it went all the way up to North Carolina into the Appalachians, and so there's just been so much devastating weather. It is true. Susan Carter's here. Susan Carter is here. Hello, Jack and all. Welcome to you. We have 82 watching right now. So just to get a idea of what Dr. Charlie Ward sounds like, who took his photo with Pastor Bob Joyce. Am I at the beginning of this? I hope I am. He's giving tribute to a dear friend, someone who passed away, and he doesn't mention who he's talking about. So let's listen to this short thing of, he is a doctor, Dr. Charlie Ward.
And expecting us to continue the fight that he started.
There we go.
The gentleman who I refer to as the Middle East diplomat who gave me all the inside information and has done for the past nearly 20 years and really woke me up 15 years ago. He sadly passed away. And my heart goes out to his family. And he'll be greatly missed. But it suggests to me that we're very, very close to the end because God has taken him home. His work was complete. But my heart goes out to his family. God will look after you and God will bless you.
Sounds like Michael Caine.
He's done. I've kept his identity private from everybody. But the people who know the man and his family know who I'm talking about. A very, very special man. Will be greatly missed, but he's now with God, looking down on us and expecting us to continue the fight that he started. God bless you.
Dr. Charlie Ward sounds more like Michael Caine than Michael Caine. So he's obviously a believer. He's a believer in Jesus Christ. And yes, he hung out with Pastor Bob Joyce. So I'm just starting to look at who Charlie Ward is. But anyone who's in the political realm, whether you be in the progressive side or the MAGA side, you're going to be deemed controversial, you know. If you're in the middle, see, middle in these times that we live in is worthless. It's absolutely worthless. It's what brought down Joe Manchin. You can't be in the middle. You can't be someone who stands up for what's right sometimes and kind of votes along with the devil the rest of the times. That's why independence, our New York City Mayor Adams, to avoid running in a primary that he thinks that he probably couldn't win, is running for mayor as an independent. So that probably lessens his chances of winning re-election. There's been controversy and whatever, but it just seems like as soon as he did anything that was favorable to Trump or started agreeing with Trump on things like getting violent immigrants out of New York City, because he's a former captain, police captain. So yeah, he's going to disagree with the governor. Um, so now Albany is trying to fight Trump in every way, and that'll mean that Trump will fight back and try to deny revenue to New York State and what have you. And if you have a governor like Governor Ron DeSantis or Glenn Youngkin, who's only going to be there until January of next year, you consider yourself very fortunate to have a governor of integrity that knows right away the idea of a biological male waltzing into your kid's locker room or to your locker room if you're in your, if you're either, anybody from grandma on down. If you're against that, you're going to be labeled as enemy of the state in places like Illinois and, of course, the state of Washington, um, Wisconsin. There's some hope in Wisconsin. They did vote to make a simple ID required for voting, a simple ID. Other states, including the one I'm in, I believe, have had a push to let people that are not citizens vote in the elections. Imagine going over to France and you say, I want to vote in the election. They'll say, no, absolutely not. These are the crazy ideas that come here in the United States as the progressives try to get a foothold. They have, not only do they not have an agenda, they don't even have the ability to speak on what they're protesting. If you've seen the protests that are going on, they had a protest right downtown while I was in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. They had an anti-Trump protest because this small city I live in is basically a sanctuary city. So it is just it's mind-boggling to me that old school Democrats could suddenly line up with a Kamala Harris or a Jasmine Crockett or AOC. These are people that have no idea what they're talking about, and they are about personal power. They don't love America. They want to take their culture, in some cases that they come from. I'm talking about people like the squad members, Rashida and what have you. They want to turn America into what they like. They would love it if Christianity went away in America. So it's frustrating times in that sense. But the election of Donald Trump and taking the Senate and the House, good thing. But now we got like 5 Republicans to worry about who vote against the president sometimes. And we've got a speaker, minority speaker in the House of Representatives, Hakeem Jeffries, that says, as I like to say, shallow as a kiddie pool. Shallow as a kiddie pool. He's the speaker that wants to brush by the press and not speak. it's just, it's just, it's depressing, I suppose, but it's all part of how things go in the last days. Selena M is here. Hi, Selena. Hi, Carmen Sylvia from New Zealand. Welcome, welcome. I miss my mother-in-law's cooking, man. She sure can cook. Yeah. Well, there was no good food to be had over at in Wilkes-Barre. We went last night to see the Pennsylvania Polka Fest, which broadcast on the Service Electric Network, which is a Pennsylvania TV network. I think you can maybe find it at PennsylvaniaPolkaFest.com. If you look good enough, you'll see Karen and I sitting there. We did not dance. Karen was not feeling that well. I'm a lousy dancer for sure. She was okay, but she is going to be having an MRI this month, and I'm hoping that I wouldn't be surprised if she needed another surgery involving the neck and lower back pain that she has. Takes a lot of gabapentin, a lot of gabapentin. And Katina's in PA. I don't know how far you are from Wilkes-Barre. But have you heard of Shippensburg, PA, Katina? Shippensburg. But a lot of people at the Mohegan Sun in Wilkes-Barre last night. They have a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, which would have loved to have gone to, but that's out of the budget, and we had limited time because we had to get to the polka show. We had a vegetable slice of pizza at a place that calls itself New York style pizza. I don't think they live up to that. There was a Johnny Rockets there. I'm not a big fan of Johnny Rockets, but it's at least it's bright and people there to serve you, whereas the food court is kind of dark and there's not much choice. There's not much choice there. The days of the buffet, I think they used to have a buffet there, but COVID killed those buffets, in some of the casinos, especially on the East Coast. I don't know about the Midwest. They didn't kill them in Las Vegas. They still got them there. Angelo is here. Hi, Jack. Orange Day. Yes, nice shirts. My sweatshirt because it's still kind of chilly. Yeah, we do like our pizza, don't we, Katina? And when someone says they're New York pizza and they're not, and that's used all over South Carolina, North Carolina. I went to a place in North Carolina once, just over the borderline, that actually had pretty good pizza. There's a certain sign you look for. It's a sign that shows that they use Roma products. They may have changed their name, Roma products, and it points out on the sign that there's a big difference between those chain pizza shops and how do they put it? Not homemade, but what you'll see here or whatever. When you see that sign, that usually means they're using the right products. And if they know what they're doing, their pizza will be great. It will be great. So, and then you get into the Polka Fest, and all they have on the menu is like those Polish potato pancakes, and of course pierogies. That's it. No desserts, no nothing else, no kielbasa or whatever. It's like they had a full ballroom. I'm going to put up a little video on this Monday or Tuesday when I get Andy up here, and we'll finally get that UFO video up I've been telling you about, which I shot from that window back there. And so they had a lot of people, and it was not just old people. There was a healthy spattering of young people, 3 bands. Jimmy was, of course, the featured band in the center. The others were reduced to being on the left or the right side of the stage, but the Polka family were there, and they're terrific. They're terrific. And they had a band that was comprised of a number of musicians, kind of almost like a marching band, and some of their songs sounded just like that. And so it was the first time seeing them. Some good musicians there, but they made the cardinal mistake of doing songs that are on the Jimmy Sturr set list. You ought to know, if you're playing the Pennsylvania Polka Fest and you're basically the open for Jimmy Sturr, you don't do the Pennsylvania Polka, because he's going to open with that, So they had like 4 or 5 songs, and so really you got to find out well in advance. Okay, what's your set list? What's your set list? Okay, well, take that one off, take that one off, take that one off, and take that one off, because that's a Jimmy set list, and it's going out over television, pre-taped. Wasn't going to air live. They were going to put it all together later. But that's a cardinal. It's like having somebody open for Billy Joel and they start playing My Life or Big Shot or something like that. So there you go. Well, hi, John Underson. Well, I don't mind you being late. I'm just glad you're here. Oh, here's Richard Lyon. Well, I have wondered about you, Richard. I got a quick blip about something on TikTok, but when I went to look for it, I didn't find it. I don't do TikTok, I really kind of ignore it, because I got enough things that are like pulling my attention. I know a lot of people that do these videos are on like 3 or 4 different platforms, and it's probably something I should do, but I'm basically just a YouTube guy. I'm a YouTube guy. There's a 95 watching right now and 48 likes. So seeing Dr. Charlie Ward there, who we have showed pictures of him and Pastor Bob Joyce together from the event. It was a charity event. They do know each other, so I'm wondering what you have heard about Dr. Charlie Ward. This would be something for the email that that is not good. It could depend on your politics too. I assume many people here are conservatives, but that doesn't mean everyone is, and that's fine. That's fine. Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com. Jack the FAIR guy at gmail.com. So, Richard, the Grand Patriarch, glad to have you back. How's things with your health going? I know that that you had struggles in different areas, and then you're supposed to have some big testing coming up. Not Large Marge is here. Welcome, Marge Gates. Everyone, do not worry. Do not sell. If you sell, you have already lost. Believe, and you will be fine. I think you're talking about the stock market, right? I don't think you can sell your 401k, right? You're kind of stuck with it. I am not selling, Richard. I am taking that advice. I have a very small amount of Robinhood stocks. Now, I happen to have in a penny stock, I have a healthy amount of shares, but it would have to become big. I think I've got a shot at it. But we knew that there would be some rough spots with the tariffs and what have you, but it's a very necessary thing. It's what is best for America. And I believe President Trump when he says that, and it's also the people in his cabinet, the Treasury Secretary, etc. He says that this will lead us into the golden age, prosperity like you have never known. But when you're making major changes that haven't been made in a long time, when you're telling countries like China, no, you can't rip us off, you can't rip us off. Um, you're going to have to pay your fair share. You can't tariff the heck out of us and we respond by just paying it. You have a surplus, Canada, and yet your tariffs are very high in some things, and you're not paying your part. You know, you're going to rely on us if you ever need military protection. You're going to rely on us, Canada, to be there. So you have to be there for us. So we have Richard Lyon, the Grand Patriarch, and then we have the Grand Poobah. Todd Bradshaw is here. Todd, I heard some real disturbing stories about the state of Tennessee. Nashville wasn't too bad, but Memphis was definitely flooded. I wonder how things were at Graceland. Did anybody hear about Graceland? Um, and other places, some town in Tennessee that actually has the word die in it, DYE, I believe. Terrible time in some spots in the state of Tennessee and in the state of Kentucky. So if we have any firsthand accounts of that, people that live near there or have information on that, I'd love to hear it. Yeah, I was worried about Katina as well. Yeah, Katina, I was worried about Richard as well, but people need to take a break sometimes. I understand that. They've got things going on in their lives, being on Saturday night. Sometimes you got something to do. I get it. I get it. And people watch the replay and what have you. Hello, replay crowd. We always enjoy hearing from you. Todd says, yes, bad weather down here, crazy times. It seems crazy every year now, you know, every September, October, terrible things happening in Florida. California has their issues as well. And you know, right into the Bible Belt, right into the Bible Belt. Oklahoma, I didn't hear about any big twisters in Oklahoma, but I may have missed that. Sam Sammy says, father was a police detective. Welcome, Joanne. Glad to have you here. Jack, I see that Pastor Bob has canceled his service this weekend. Yeah, well, there was tough weather in Arkansas due to the bad weather. And that really, you know, for someone that on Tuesday or Wednesday flew into Arkansas for the Sunday service, you know, and the church is so small. And how many more seats are they going to have in the new building, you know? I wonder. So that doesn't surprise me. But, you know, there's people at those hotels in Benton that came for a purpose, and it's a real letdown when that happens, you know? It's like it first of all, the church being so small is a real problem. And the expense of travel, and then you get there. Sometimes numerous countries are represented in a Sunday service, and then it gets canceled. It's a real blow, you know. It's a real blow. There was no power in the church, says Katina. They say the roads were bad. Yeah, I understand that. And obviously, the reason to go to church is not to meet the pastor, but to praise Jesus. But people were going there, a lot of them, it's the other way around, you know? It's the other way around. Hello, Neo Neon. There was a trailer for a new Naked Gun movie. Well, who's that gonna star? Who's still alive? Obviously, we lost Leslie a while back. Rest in peace, 73-year-old, someone that we all grew up of a certain age anyway, watching Dennis the Menace. Rest in peace, Jay North, dead at 73 of colon cancer. Get your colonoscopy. They're not calling me, and it's got to be 5 years now, if not 6. So I'm going to call Dr. Plumer's office tomorrow, and Karen too. Nobody wants to get a colonoscopy, nobody does. But I've had many of them, and everything was good. But when someone gets colon cancer, they're not going to recover from that unless the Lord heals them. Katina says I would go for both reasons. Well, yeah, it's just I think that's an honest answer. That's an honest answer. So I'm looking at some conversations and I can't come in the middle of them because I'm not understanding what's being said. Paula Weiss. Hi, Jack. Where are you from, Paula? Weiss Supermarkets? I don't think we have a Weiss Supermarket anywhere around here. Now, where did I see Weiss Supermarkets? I don't think it was in Rock Hill, South Carolina. That was Food Lion, Big Saver. They used to have Piggly Wiggly. That was closed there, and I think the whole chain went down. And there would have been one more too, but Food Lion was the one that we were most likely to go to in my second marriage. Food Lion, and the Dollar Generals down there. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 of them in Rock Hill, South Carolina. At least there was. They're closing in some spots, and Family Dollar is struggling tremendously. They are not doing well in some spots. Liam Neeson. What about Liam Neeson? Oh, Liam Neeson will be Frank Jr., huh? Okay. Frank Jr. I mean, he's not that far. The age difference is not that much between the late Leslie Nielsen and Liam Neeson. Funny how they have the same initials, right? I've never seen. Have I ever seen Liam Neeson do comedy? No. So of course he'd want to do it because he's so sick of always looking for his daughter that's been kidnapped or something like that. He was in a good movie. Um, let me see now. I've seen the movie at least twice. With Amanda Seyfried. Amanda Seyfried plays like a call girl, and Julianne Moore wants to find out if her husband is cheating, if Liam Neeson is cheating. So she hires Amanda Seyfried. This goes back to like 2011 to hit on him. Well, in that movie, Amanda's character sees that this is a good payday and she wants to keep it going for a while. So she starts to invent stories, to keep the ball up in the air, and so to speak. And I won't tell you the plot, but it's a good movie. It's a good movie, although I'd have to tell you that there's a very carnal scene in there, and it is not does not involve Liam Neeson. Oh boy, what are you gonna do with this, guys? Wow, that's the first time I could just reconnect to the regular stream. First time. We've been doing these live shows for over 2 years, and I saw reconnect, and we didn't have to start a second stream, but we lost a bunch of people. We went down from like 95 to 59 with that pause for the cause, so to speak. So there you go. We were an hour in, and so that just amazes me. Come on, man. I know. And I never know. I never know why, I don't think Andy is streaming. Tess says Dyersville, right? Thank you. Dyersville, Tennessee. How far is that from you, um, Todd Bradshaw, if you're still watching? I don't know if you are. Teresa Williams is here. Hey, Jack, I'm here. Who knows? Sam, technology is foreign to me, but it had a button that said reconnect, and it doesn't usually say that word. It says something else, and it never works. I always have to start a second stream, and if this stream kind of freezes a certain way, my phone is back there. I didn't bring my phone up. That did give me a chance to take a potty break, though, real quick. So, because I was thinking here in the first hour, this could become a problem. So we got that. We got that taken care of. These days, you could check the Bible for the weather report. Seriously. Well, we do know, the kind of things that are going to happen in the last days, and we're in them. How far we're in them, I do not know. Sarah says, hi, Jack. Oh, yes, John and Sarah. I like the spelling with the H. I think that is cool. It's kind of old-fashioned in a sense. But I like that. It's a beautiful name either way, though. Either way. Someone is, if Richard is hitting my text, I don't have the phone with me, Richard. So let me just check here. Yeah. Just checking. I refreshed, and there is the Grand Poobah, Todd Bradshaw, sent us $40 on the Cash App for Reconnect. Todd, you're amazing. That's all I can say. Thank you very, very much for that. I appreciate that. Cash App is lowercase letters. If you have Cash App on your phone, and you can hit it for any amount, $1, $2, $5, $10, whatever. It's lowercase letters Media Guy 56, Media Guy 56, MEDIAGUY 56. Thank you, Todd Bradshaw. I appreciate that so much. For the Cash App, there's also a thanks button that you see on the screen. If it's a larger amount, I would suggest Cash App. Smaller amounts, the thanks button is also available to you. If you don't have Cash App on your phone, you have to go to the App Store, find the green Cash App dollar symbol, and load it. You have to link it to your checking account, and you can use it for other things, including people giving money to you, what have you, and things like that. So thank you, Todd Bradshaw. I really appreciate that more than you could know. And then on the thanks button, there's Sammy is the great encourager. 99 cents. He hit it for 279 earlier. Thank you, Sam Sammy, for hitting the thanks button. As I put out a video that I recorded just before I hit the road for Pennsylvania, talking about a book that's just come out, inferring that Elvis, had embraced the occult full circle, and that he was involved in everything from contact with UFOs and had paranormal experiences, and what have you. Let's see here. What am I trying to find? Yeah, the video is called "The Nonsense Elvis Decided on the Occult." Could have been a better title, I guess. It's got 437 views, so it's certainly not setting the night on fire. But it's a 10-minute video. And Frank Chandler commented, he said, "I read that too, Jack, but hard for me to see Bob that way." Or should we say Elvis, because the book is about Elvis. Also, he did take a selfie with Charlie Ward while at Mar-a-Lago. We've shown that one. The Charlie Ward I didn't hear one good thing about. So sorry, Sammy, for saying that might have been you. It was Frank Chandler. So, Frank, if you can email me what you're talking about, jackthefairguy@gmail.com. I don't think we usually see Frank in the live chat, but I've seen the name before. Sometimes it can be just your political views. If you were a liberal, you would not perhaps like someone who is a MAGA, especially someone who is very frank about their MAGA beliefs. But this book that just came out on the 8th of April is saying talking about the secret magical life of Elvis Presley. And obviously I haven't read the book. I'm not planning on reading the book. But I can tell that they believe that Elvis passed away in 1977, because it would be a very inconvenient truth if Elvis, who you say, became a hardcore believer and practicer of the occult, became a pastor preaching the very clear doctrine of faith in Jesus Christ by accepting him as your Savior, and that the Bible is the one true word of God. That wouldn't work for you. So you have to say that Elvis passed away in 1977 or passed away at some point. You can't say that he became a Christian pastor. "That was intense," said Miss Carter. "It gave me goosebumps," which I said, well, that's better than a case of the mumps. Susan Brenda joined us. And Cindy Jin from Tennessee says he was on a journey to find what he was looking for. "In the South, gospel hymns and church are what you're raised in." God bless you, Jack. I agree. His gospel albums put chills on me. "How Great Thou Art," my favorite. Exactly. My mother was the same age as EP. She passed away in 2019. But I bring up in the video that although we're Christians, we still, wonder about things like aliens and the idea that you can be caught between two worlds. I mean, the judgment seat of Christ hasn't happened yet. So are there souls that seem to be caught between two worlds, as they capture on shows like Ghost Adventures? And it certainly seems like there's a lot of evidence to suggest that there are souls that are not at rest. They're not at rest. Um, but Cindy Gin, Tennessee, says that her mother was a born again believer, but she had books about aliens. I think it's done out of curiosity, but doesn't mean you're dark. You're learning. But once the Bible is put in you, it's there. That's right. You can't. You can't. For me, who was dabbling in Hinduism, um, I certainly, when I became born again in 1984, knew that was the end of my Hinduism path. That I could no longer uh, entertain the philosophy of man, so to speak. There was no room for that. So thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Todd Bradshaw, on the Cash App. Brand new month, so we're trying to make a very meager goal. So any amount is great in helping us do that on the thanks button here or on the Cash App. Let's see. Tennessee, Todd, is a wonderful state. I've only visited a few times, but I love the feel of it. You know, I don't understand, for example, spending your whole life like Karen's actor cousin, Bobby Reed, BobbyReed.com. He's done a million things, mostly small roles. He's done bigger things on the stage and bigger things in those web series. He He's had his moments, though. He was on the Perry Mason reboot on HBO. He played the juror that got paid off for his vote. He had some dialogue in there and what have you. But he spent his whole life, I mean, after living here in New York, when he and did some work in New York City, at a fairly young age, he moved to California and he's never left. As far as I can tell, he's never left that immediate area, California, Pasadena, wherever there's shooting going on. He's never went to Canada, for example, where they do a lot of acting work there. Television shows and movies get filmed in Toronto and Vancouver and what have you. So he's been right in that area. I, I lived in LA for a year. I lived right there in Hollywood, right off Hollywood Boulevard for a year. I never felt at home there. But in a state like Tennessee, that's America. That's America. Oh, give me the Buc-ee's. Give me the Music City, Nashville, the smaller places in Tennessee. And then, of course, the bigger cities like Memphis, haven't spent much time in Memphis. Would like to do that. But the time I was in Nashville, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So that's Americana there. That's I get excited when I go into a truck stop and or into Buc-ee's, which is more of a car uh, RV stop. I get excited in these places. Some of these truck stops that actually allow you to sit down, which the only way you're sitting down at Buc-ee's is if you're going to the bathroom. Um, some of these places that they're like little cities, and I just love that environment. But Karen is not big into car travel, and we gotta work out these pain issues and see. She's having an MRI maybe next Saturday during the day. I hope that really is approved and we don't have to go through that. So that's going to be an expense because she has Aetna, and it's like $300 for her copay is like $300 for an MRI, which is outrageous. It's outrageous. She doesn't have the New York City insurance. Mine wouldn't be that high. Mine would be probably $15. $15. That's what the benefit I get from spending 19 years in Chester, New York, at a homeless men's shelter owned by the city of New York, so working for the city of New York. That's the benefit of pretending to be a peace officer for 19 years. good health insurance in retirement. And I'm very grateful for that. Brenda has family everywhere, but not Istanbul, not Istanbul. My mom is going to be 85, says Katina, and she never believed Elvis died. Yeah. And the thing is, Pastor Bob, works almost every Sunday. So he deserves some weeks off. He deserves some weeks off, but they got to, when at all possible, I'm not going to say the name of that place, Semi, but thank you for hitting the thanks button. I really appreciate that. It just takes a few people to do that for any amount, and it really helps me with the grand total that we're working on now for really the month of May. I wonder from month to month, am I going to be able to pay my responsibilities? I did over 50 years of work, often 2 jobs or a ton of overtime. When I did work at the homeless shelter, I was the overtime king, working well over 300 hours of overtime in any given year. And others would get jealous, but they never wanted to say yes when it came their turn, and their turn would always be ahead of mine. You see, I got it because, oh yeah, I want overtime. Well, you get so much overtime because I say yes and you say no. The stars don't line up today. You want to go home at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I wanted to go home too. But I said, I got 2 kids and a wife depending on me. This is starting to sound like Poke Salad Annie. By Tony Joe White. Yeah, so I knew that I needed to take that overtime. And so I did for many, many years on the overnight shift, 17 on the overnight shift. I love living in Tennessee, says Tessie. Could be because I'm from North Carolina and Tennessee is a breakaway state. A breakaway state. What does that mean? Is that like the Methodist Church is a breakaway church from the Catholic Church? Let me sit better here. I need a more comfortable chair. Have you seen the prices of these? Have you been in a place like Staples and looked at a comfortable chair? I mean, we're talking $400 or more, I'm not talking about a really fancy recliner. I'm just talking about a regular chair. I would love to have one of those nice, real padded, since I spend some time here, I would like to do that. And I don't spend any time here doing video games. I don't do any of those, At night, I check my email. I think about, the next pre-recorded video. Sometimes the inspiration comes in an email from you. So if you've been to Household of Faith, I certainly appreciate it. If you have pictures and you want to tell a story, let me know what you don't want me to say, and including if that's your name. Like I got some nice photos of a family, the grandparents and their granddaughter and the rest of the family, and I have to find out whether they want us to show those. Don't know if you're here right now. I don't see you, but we have to get your permission, of course, first. Staples is expensive for those kind of things, right? Yeah. I have to say goodnight. I'll watch the replay, and she really will, too. Sweet dreams. Thank you, Katina. Thank you for stopping by. One of our loyal channel family members. Jack says, Grand Poobah Todd Bradshaw, I'm going to have to pick one of those shirts you're wearing. I will not have to worry about getting run over on an early morning walk. Karen says, it looks like it's my prison yard shirt. My prison yard shirt. And I have a few other orange shirts that are, this is a sweatshirt. Um, and I probably did buy it because I knew it would be right for YouTube. Now, the shirts that I wear, the short sleeve shirts, are from Walmart, and they're the No Boundaries line. No boundaries sounds like my life, and especially the early years. So I wore one of those, which you saw on the video that I just did. If you haven't seen that video yet, be sure to check it out. The nonsense Elvis decided on the occult. It's based on a new book that has just come out. Let me back up this and maybe I'll run into it. Yeah. The Occult Elvis. Let me turn down this. The Mystical and Magical Life of the King by Miguel Connor. Miguel Connor. So that was my response to that. I have obviously not read Miguel's book, but we talk about the possibility that Pastor Bob Joyce may have been the king of rock and roll. We only speak of possibilities. I could be wrong about the whole thing, but either way, I believe that the seed that was planted in Elvis Presley way back in the black Pentecostal churches in the 50s, I believe that seed came to fruition and that Elvis accepted Jesus Christ as his personal Lord and Savior. As I say in the video, it's only 10 minutes long. Please watch it. Please find it and watch it. As I say, it doesn't mean he was saved. He may have been marked for Christ, but in terms of accepting Jesus into his heart, I don't think he was saved when he recorded his first gospel album, because well after that, he was listening to Larry Geller, the hairstylist who was the spiritual advisor, and he was looking into various faiths. He read probably the same book I read on Yogananda and Ram Dass. I think he read Be Here Now by Ram Dass. These are all things that I was doing in the 70s. Oh, it's so nice to have a faith that believes in reincarnation. I can screw up all I want here and not worry about it. I'll just get it right in the next lifetime, Christianity put a real downer in my my love for sinning, because now I realized what I was doing was wrong, because I believed in a personal God, a personal Savior that died on a cross for my sins, and that he's calling me to holiness. So it's a whole different thing. All my friends that I know that were in the gang that embraced Hinduism, and I think probably still meditate and everything to this day, they showed no signs of a love for God, no signs of a love for God that I saw. And in talking to them, I'm saying in recent years, when they are, very progressively liberal in their thinking and what have you, as far as I can tell, it's not that they're not good people, and I still love them, but we have nothing in common anymore, because they would see, of course, Donald Trump as the Antichrist, and they embrace people that hate America. So we don't have a lot in common anymore, But you can sit there and meditate and what have you, and be void of any real love for God and the people. The first book we read, because we were all from McDonald's. That's where we all met up, working at McDonald's in the 70s. I started at $1.85 an hour. When I became a crew chief, what was I making then? Maybe $2.50, $250. It wasn't any more than that. And so they started to look into. It started with a book called The Handbook to Higher Consciousness by Ken Kais, and then that led into the Ram Dass and Yogananda and what have you. And I just followed right along. I guess if they would have went to Niagara Falls and said, "Well, Jack, we're going to jump. Will you jump with us?" I probably would have said, "Well, if you guys are going to do it." But when I had that born again experience in '84, that was the end of that. You can't carry both. You can't say, well, when someone says, I don't, I don't go to church, I don't do this, I don't do that, but I'm spiritual. No, you're not. Your spirituality ain't worth it ain't worth a small coffee from the worst convenience store in town. You know what I'm saying? Hi, Laurie Merrick. Miami Dolphin colors, huh? Yeah, yeah. I've never been to Miami. It seems so beautiful, and I've never been there. I mean, in like January of this year, you had to pretty much go to Miami to get warm because it certainly was freezing and snowing even in Jacksonville and those border states from Georgia was freezing, but it's usually warm in Miami. So I've never liked football, but I know people love it with a passion. I actually watched an entire football game in the winter. I watched the Super Bowl. Karen and I sat there, and I didn't understand a thing about it. They throw a ball, they run a few feet, they get tackled. Oh, people are so excited, and the team that was expected to do well was awful. And Philadelphia ran away with it, but I watched for the commercials, and I just watched to take in the excitement of everybody. But I don't get it. I love baseball, but without my son here in New York to go to games with me occasionally at Yankee Stadium or what have you. But I certainly have loved many baseball games that I've seen. But when you get all the way to the World Series and then you do so poorly, and it's the Steinbrenner Jr. there keeps the same manager, keeps Cashman, and once again, you got to have what they had in 2009, and before that, you've got to have 3 or 4 starting pitchers. You can't just have one. And then, of course, Garrett Cole blows out his arm in spring training. So I'm not into it. I'm not into it. I don't have Yes TV anymore because I don't have Spectrum. We have Spectrum for internet. Jenny, you have to go. Well, thank you for stopping, Jenny. Oops. Where are you going, Jenny? What's on your bucket list? So, here I am wearing sweatshirts, Todd Bradshaw, in early April. But we've had snow even down here in the lower Hudson Valley in April. I hope we don't have any this week. Some of you know I did an impulse thing on my credit card because I don't have the cash. And this Thursday, we are scheduled to drive to Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, which is well past Wilkes-Barre, and to see the first of the 4 last concerts of Johnny Mathis in Shippensburg. I got a great cheap deal on a hotel. Mr. Mathis is starting to have memory loss. It's been happening for a while. I'm sure the lyrics will be blasted onto a teleprompter, various parts of the stage. And So I thought this was a life experience, but I really should have taken into account that it's a long time in the car for Karen. She's nervous about those things. Although, for Maine, she usually handles it pretty well. I give my best to not to go fast. She doesn't like that. Usually stay in the slow lane and what have you. But I suppose if I had it to do over, can't get the money back, and unless he cancels, because his last show is supposed to be May 18th at the much closer uh, Bergen County, New Jersey Performing Arts Center. I think it's May 18th. And I thought, well, by then he may not be able to do it. So I did an impulse buy, and I'm kind of stuck with it now. I'm kind of stuck with it. So let me go back down on the list. And there's Teresa Pennell hitting the thanks button. Thank you so much, Teresa, for $4.99. Good night, everyone. Got to get the grand doll to school in the morning. Oh, you're taking your granddaughter to school. Cool. Here's Nancy DeMarco. Fancy Nancy appears on the scene. Hi, Fancy Nancy. Hi, everyone. I am late, but that doesn't mean you're pregnant. People say that. When women say that, it's the first thing I think of. I don't know about you, not large Marge. She's saying good night to Teresa Pannell. There she is. Very nice picture of her. Thank you, Teresa. Really helps me for any amount when people hit the thanks button. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Read my past comment, says Richard. I wasn't sure you were still here, or that you, after we had that little interruption there, where we crashed, but I was actually able to reset the same stream. That's the first time that's happened in 2 years. So now I've got to go on an expedition, because you probably made it a while back, Grand Patriarch. So I am now hunting for Richard's comment, and I could even go past it. You've asked me to do this before, Richard, so it's not the first time I've missed your comment. I don't do it intentionally. Get a station wagon. Lay her down. Go see Bob, LOL. She would never, ever considerably do the car thing. And really, the goal, if I was going to drive it, Richard, and I know you're a driver. I'm not sure you don't fly too, but you're a driver, is I would want to go on to Texas after that, and August is certainly the wrong month to do that. And as I've been saying, it'll be a wonderful service, and I encourage you to go to the George Live event. If you are of a certain means, do the whole thing. Do the VIP Friday and Saturday. There's special things that'll be open to you, or you can just get a Saturday ticket. Sunday is free. And there should be a seat for you at the Bank OZK Arena there in Hot Springs on August 17th. But, of course, they're hoping that you will do at least the Saturday event. And the VIPs get in first, and then the Saturday people get in. I've heard there's buses that are going to be coming. So, get there early. On Sunday, it would be 10 a.m. Central Time for Pastor Bob Joyce as he brings the household of service to the Bank OZK Arena. I've heard everything from 3,900 seats to 6,200. So there you go. But Karen's not certainly going to go to Texas with me. That's time that I have with my son, and I can't get her 5 hours. She will do Maine, but as she gets older, she's got pain issues and what have you. And the only way I could do Hot Springs would involve flying, renting a car at either Memphis Airport or Little Rock, and you got like 3 nights in a hotel motel. We're fine with motels, but driving is a very expensive event as well. we're talking about, my goodness, by the time it's all said and done, well over 3,000 miles, So it's tough. I know you're independently wealthy, Richard, but it's tough for me. I'm on a very limited budget. And you read wrong. You went too far back. It would be better if you could just say it again, Richard. Oh, dear. Hockenberry 92. Good evening, Jack and everyone. Elsa Carbone. Say it again, Richard, please. Okay. Say it again. Play it again, Sam. No, not you, Sam. Play it again, Richard. I was just wondering if anyone noticed at the service, 3:30:25, an older woman made a comment at the closing of the sermon to thank all the people helping with the construction. Older woman, huh? Okay, I'll look for that. I'll look for that. Wow. It happened again. It crashed and let me immediately reconnect to the same stream. This is weird stuff. This is weird stuff, Richard Lyon. I'll tell you that. I still want to know what you said, but it's very hard to try to sort through it if I missed it. I try not to miss it, but it seems to be if I'm going to miss somebody, it's going to be Richard down there in West Palm Beach. Huh. Pastor Bob didn't quite hear her make the comment. He called her honey for her to repeat and then called her baby to repeat again. That's a Elvis word, isn't it? Baby or honey. He often called people honey, including reporters that were asking him gotcha questions when they asked him about how he felt about war protesters and things like that. Said, honey, I'd just rather keep my opinions to myself. I never heard a pastor call a parishioner baby. Yeah. I guess I have to say, you're right about that, Elsa Carbone. Yeah. You're saying another side of Pastor Bob came out there. Obviously, he wasn't being carnal because if he's going to be carnal, it'll be with, some young babe. Just the way it is. I emailed, and it wouldn't be at a church service. I emailed and offered to help with the build, and no one responded. Maybe they're done. I think they're pretty close to being done. Katie Wilson indicated that, I believe, that they're getting there, and maybe May or June. I mean, they were talking July, so And then how many seats are we going to have? I'd really like to know that. I have a feeling it's not going to be a big number. It's not going to be too much higher. Thank you, Brenda. Well, at least you made it this far, and I hope that you're, on the mend there, and that you get to the point where you're totally feeling well again. The lovely looking lady is Karen, my partner of almost 15 years now, but we knew each other in I used to say 64, but I think it was 1965, September of 1965, when I met her in my second round of second grade. Yes, I failed second grade because I was in Montreal, Canada for 6 months of the school year in second grade, and it was a totally different curriculum. It was very easy in Montreal, as I remember, and I was lost when I came back in February to school because I had to have a neck operation in Danbury, Connecticut. My parents got back together at that point. But from July through maybe the 2nd of January. I was living in Montreal, Canada. That's 1964, into the second day of 1965. So, but that is beautiful, Karen. She was beautiful in 2nd grade, the little red-haired girl, and beautiful now. And so we went to Wilkes-Barre and took in the Polka Fest with our friends Sean and Norma, who drove. And it was a great time, but Karen is not the polka fan that I am. She likes Jimmy Sturr, but um, she's not a polka person. I mean, she wanted me to take her to Hozier. Oh boy, it's a tough thing, you know. You have to remember, well, first of all, my budget is so limited, but she'll say, well, you find money for Jimmy Sturr, you know, it's a lot cheaper than Hozier, but still, who the heck is this guy? I said, that's not our age group. Why do you like Hozier? And Jelly Roll and what have you. She's not a Jelly Roll fan because she doesn't like country, but a lot of people seem to like this Jelly Roll guy. Seems like a sort of nice chap. Why do you put tattoos on your face? Well, you know, this whole thing with the tattoos. So I'm never going to hear your comment, right, Richard? Diana Beck, aloha from Buenos Aires. This is the first. We actually had Argentina in a replay video. Hello from Buenos Aires. Yes, maybe it was you. It was you, right? It could have been you. I'm not saying you're the only person that lives in Argentina. Welcome. What time is it there, Diana? It's there. You mean way back in the comments somewhere, right? It was me. It was you. Terrific. So, again, Richard, I don't think you realize what you're asking me to do. Message retracted. He probably said something like, look for it, darn it, that kind of thing. Nellie Tuttle. Well, at least this gives me a chance to say hello to some of the people I've missed. Hi. Welcome, Nellie Tuttle. Here in America. You are in America. You're from West Virginia, but you're not related to Paul Sr., Paul and Paul Jr. Tuttle, famous for Orange County Choppers. That happened right here in Orange County, New York. It started in Montgomery, New York, and then they moved their headquarters to Newburgh, New York. And the American Chopper series on Discovery lasted for 5 seasons, 6 seasons. And there's a new series coming. Paul Tuttle Sr. now is, I don't want to say estranged from his son, but he is somewhat still. He lives in Clearwater, Florida, and they're going to do a new American Chopper series from Clearwater, Florida. So you're from West Virginia. Have been there. My second wife and I did a fair there in West Virginia. I can't think of the name of it. It was a small fair. And Richard has retracted a bunch of messages. And so I'll never find the one that you're asking me to find, Richard. And you won't type it again. You won't do it. So I didn't find it the other time, so who knows, you know? What can I do? Richard will hold a grudge, I know it. And that's all it's letting me go back right now. As far as Katina saying she's a fan of Bob, so I need you to type it again, and you probably won't. You probably won't. What can I do? Anyway, there's 87 watching right now, 88 watching, 77 likes. I thank you so much for doing that. I'd be happy to answer your question, Richard, or comment on your comment if you can just type it again. Understand when it's coming fast, and anytime I leave the screen, Richard, don't type then, because I'll definitely miss it. When I'm playing a video or what have you, or looking at the email, I can't see the screen. If you did it then, I'm going to definitely miss it, you know. Happy to find a wonderful channel to talk about Elvis. Yeah, what I find, Diana, is that Elvis is secondary to Pastor Bob Joyce. When I do a video that has Elvis in the title, and we're talking specifically about Elvis, it does far less. And the magic words are always Pastor Bob Joyce. That's what people want in the title. They want that to be part of the story. So the 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 past of Elvis, most people know the story, and when it gets to the events of 1977, you either believe or you don't. But if people are obviously um, um, wanting to hear about Pastor Bob Joyce, then they know the story. They know the story. Silver Mercury, hello, Jack. First time catching you live. Love your show and your Elvis ramblings from Pawnee in Arizona. Pawnee. Do you have a pawn shop? Faith Lloyd joins us. We need the ark with all the rain we're getting. Yeah. Is that a real story, or is it what's the word I'm looking for? I can't remember. Is it in the Bible to teach us a story, to make a point? I can't think of the name of it. Susan Carter, your hotels are covered by myself and a few other volunteers. Well, thank you. The other issue is right now I have no idea where Karen's health journey is going to take us, and I just need to be there for her. I can't leave her. She has right now, traveling that far would be out of the question, so I'm not going to know for quite a while whether it's even conceivable. Last year I agonized over this, and I told myself this year, if it's meant to happen, it will. I won't rule it out, but I won't agonize over it. And here I am agonizing over it. Marianne Rossi, not Donna Rossi. Hi, y'all. Welcome. My oldest daughter lives in Alvin, Texas. We have an Alvin, Texas person here. I don't know if you're still here. Richard is now complaining, why doesn't it just let you repost, not retyping too long? And remember, that's TOO. Richard, you probably did it when I was on another screen, so I tried to find it, but it was not successful. So we'll answer it the next time you're going to be here. You probably won't be here. We'll be here Wednesday at 10 p.m., but Richard is a hardworking man, and he can't be hanging out here, 10, 11 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, because he's got to get up early to go to work on Thursday. So he's still a working man because he's younger than I am. I mean, I'm 69 years old now. The big one is coming next March, if the Lord should give me another undeserved portion of grace. Susan, yeah. So we'll see, Susan. I just have no idea at this point. It's quite a ways away, and I'm really, Karen's having a problem with her balance from time to time, and so I'm getting more concerned about protecting her, and you can't be with someone all the time. So, I don't want her to take a fall. She already has taken. In fact, to be honest with you, when we got in the van, Thank God the door was closed on the side, on the other side. Um, she didn't say anything. She didn't make any kind of a sound, but she literally had overshot the seat of the van and was wedged near the door. And she was laughing about it, but I was, not laughing. I was concerned, you know. So I have to I can't leave her for, for 5, 6 days. And that's a problem because I need to see my son in Texas. And that's really the priority, is seeing my son in Texas. I haven't seen him since 2021, and that is way too long. He was here. I have been to Texas to see him a number of times, but not, the COVID thing happened and what have you. So I tried to make it in 2024 and it just didn't seem to work. So that's something I want to do also. So there's all these things to consider, along with a retirement that got cut kind of by a significant margin by something unexpected happening. It got cut. So that's why um, I am so appreciative of people that hit the thanks button or the Cash App. Cash App is lowercase letters. If you have Cash App, it's Media Guy 56 MEDIAGUY 56. Any amount is fine. Or you, for the smaller amounts, you can hit the thanks button here. The larger amounts, I would definitely recommend Cash App. I get more of it. So I appreciate it when people send me the maybe you belong to a Bob Joyce is Elvis group on Facebook. I don't belong to them, and you send me something from one of those groups. I appreciate that because I can obviously miss it, especially if it's a private only group. I don't want to belong to those groups. For me, I don't think it's the right place for me to be. But I appreciate it when somebody gives me information that they feel I should know about. Like someone named Smith sent me a video. Well, I wonder which Smith it is, huh? When they were talking about um, people that have been to Household of Faith, there's every indication from several sources that Billy Smith used to go to Household of Faith. Now, if that's not true, it's not true. But someone even sent me uh, one of the membership lists or what have you, and Billy Smith's name was on there. Now, there could be another Billy Smith. So I'm not saying anything definitive. I'm just saying that many people feel that cousin Billy Smith has and probably still is a member in good standing of Household of Faith. And he, of course, believes or says that that Elvis Presley died in 1977. So there you go. There you go. Jackie, getting any more information from that guy from New Orleans? New Orleans, also on my bucket list, but will I ever get to go? Jack, going to Household of Faith on 4/27. Best Western booked. That's where I booked for the little trip to Shippensburg, PA. Best Western. So there you go. So tell me all about that. We'll be on Sunday that week, 9 to midnight. That particular Sunday, we will be on 9 to midnight. So that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And also, obviously I have to think about, as I say, with the amount of people that are going to be at the Bank OZK Arena in Hot Springs, Arkansas, on the 17th of August for the service with Pastor Bob Joyce. It's not going to be a time for a personal experience. He is going to do an altar call, and that's not a time for small talk. That's That's a time for prayer. But he's going to need people helping him. He's one person. So if you want that couple of minutes with him, you really have to go to the church. You really have to go to the church. I don't know how much more seating there'll be in the new church, which should be open in a relatively short time now. But when it comes summertime, people are more likely to travel and what have you, and it's not going to be guaranteed. You're not going to be guaranteed a seat, and there's not going to be a different building there. I believe there's not going to be a separate building like they have now with an overflow room where you can watch on a big screen and you'll meet the pastor later. I don't know. Yeah, I got to remember what that was about, Marianne. Rossi, you're talking about the guy from New Orleans, and it's, it rings a bell, but that was the video I did on Elvis, shocking new information, right? You're talking about that one. Watch that video, and I think I'll watch it. I think I'll watch myself to refresh my memory. Let's see here. There we are. It says, we're live, famous people at Household of Faith, hurricane stories. We didn't get too much on that, but many people have said that Glenn Hardin, the famous Elvis pianist, has been there. I've never seen a picture of him there. I did see the man who looks like him, Joe Murphy, who played bass guitar, wearing bib overalls. It's been a long time since then, years ago now. Glenn plays piano. So a video that has got 2,500 plus views is shocking new info. Shocking new Elvis info. There is a new source video with new information. Some may find it controversial. Yes, now it's all coming back to me now. Very good member here, new member, but also he's a source who I do not name. Watch the entire video for the whole story. I speak of possibilities. The new source. I don't remember him being from. He's not from New Orleans, but he said that Elvis wasn't in the witness protection program. He was helped by somebody else, and so he told that story. His mother and father knew Elvis because, yes, it's coming back to me. They lived in Tennessee, right across from where they had the big hayride stage. They call it the hayride. And Elvis in 1957 appeared there a lot in the Memphis area, Memphis, Tennessee. So watch that video, shocking new Elvis info. And look at our whole list of videos, and then you can click on live and you'll see all our past live shows. So down to 82, but that's still a pretty healthy number. Yep. Check that one out. I'm not getting any new info as of yet. Of course, that is a story that happened a long time ago. But I believe the gentleman is very sincere, and I had a good feeling about putting it in a video. His parents lived by the arena. That's right. Elvis performed at that arena that had the hayride, and Elvis visited when he went to Louisiana. That's right. Not it was um, Louisiana, not Tennessee, Louisiana. So you're right, Nancy, because New Orleans is in Louisiana. Not Louisiana, but Louisiana. You're right. It's all coming together now. That's the one I was talking about. I thought you said you had more coming from him. Well, we're still talking, so we'll see. I'm not sure exactly what I said and what motivated me to say it, but I think there is more that can be talked about. Um, I don't want to stress the point about who helped them. I don't think that's something people want to hear a lot about. I was grateful that the information that I wrestled with whether I should use it that's in that video. Should I say that part, which is really the heart of the story? Um, I reasoned that I would be cheating the audience if I didn't, but I expected more blowback than I got. Uh, just to make it clear, um, we are not in any way indicating that Elvis Presley was ever a member of the mafia. Certainly, though, they loved Elvis like everybody else did. And in Las Vegas, and I think mostly in Las Vegas, they would visit and they would sit around and they would start to drink, and their lips would get loose. But we had always said that Elvis was in the witness protection program. Then I added to that and said, since President Nixon had made him a special agent and what have you, it might not have been necessary that the government would have been willing to protect him. But the news source said, amongst other things, said that Elvis did not testify against a mob figure. He did not do it. He did not do it. So I guess the government at that point would have been less willing to help Elvis if he felt that he needed to start a whole other life and that he was really close to death because of the sickness in his body and needed to get well. And he didn't do that in Argentina, as was suggested by Phil Aitchison, who we talk about, I guess, in the Verdict video. It was not. It was. It was. It was somebody else. So there you go. Is that cryptic enough? Um, okay. I'll talk. I'll talk to you about that. I'll talk to you about that, Marianne. So there you go. We've had an interesting night, I'll tell you. The video cutting out crashing twice and me being able to restore it in the same stream. Maybe Elvis got a preemptive pardon from Nixon when they met. um, well, that hadn't happened yet, though. You mean, like Biden preemptive pardon for anything his kids could do in the future? Yeah, I understand what you're saying now. I think Biden might have been the first one to do that. I may be wrong about that, but it seems like Biden was the first one to do preemptive for anything you do in the future. Really? Think about what he could do, folks. Oh my goodness. I never really considered the implications of that. Oh yeah, it's in my pocket. I put the other glasses in me pocket. Bobby Sherman is still hanging on, although his family said that his body was shutting down from cancer. And as we said earlier in the show, Dennis the Menace, Jay North, dead at 73 years old of colon cancer. Always like to end with some scripture reading. Thank you for those that hit the thanks button and the Cash App. If I don't mention you in this show, I will do it in the Wednesday night show. 10 o'clock East Coast time is the plan. 10 o'clock East Coast time is the plan for the next edition of Worldwide Ramblings. Looking here in the New King James Version, there's that whole thing, with faith and works. Paul is clear, you are saved by faith, not by works. But then here in the Epistle of James, we see that works are nevertheless important. Starting with verse 13 of chapter 2, for judgment is without mercy to the one who has shown no mercy. I think that's very important. Forgive those who have committed transgressions. Forgive me my trespasses or my debts as I forgive others who have trespassed against me. Mercy triumphs over judgment. That's a beautiful line. Mercy triumphs over judgment. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Because you're going to be driven to have works if you have been born of God's Spirit. Can faith save him? In other words, the implication here is that he was never really someone who had been born again. If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead. So the other translation is faith without works is dead, because faith will spawn works. Faith will spawn works. But someone will say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. That's reminding me of the old saying, I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. Amen. Oh, it was Gerald Ford. Yes, I guess you're right? He gave that to Nixon. He gave him a preemptive pardon. Because they could have tried to charge him with something different than what they were planning on, President Gerald Ford granted his predecessor, Richard Nixon, a full, free, and absolute pardon for any crimes Nixon might have committed during his presidency. But another point is a preemptive pardon is that for anything he would do in the future. Think about that. Amen, says Todd Bradshaw, the Grand Poobah. Again, thank you for hitting the Cash App, Todd. Gail George, amen. Carmen Sylvia from New Zealand, amen. John says, what if Elvis told Nixon his plan and got permission to do it? Well, as I say in the shocking evidence video, we're telling the source is telling a different story of who helped Elvis. So, we're just presenting possibilities here. You decide, John. You decide. Well, that's all she wrote for this Sunday, the 6th of April, 2025. Please keep Karen in your prayers. She'll be getting that MRI this week. We'll see what happens with the Schippenberg decision. Don't make impetuous decisions. Think about everything involved with the decision you're making. That's the mistake I made when I threw one of the Johnny Mathis concerts on a credit card when the wise decision would have been not to do that. So we'll see how she's feeling and what have you, and we'll take it from there. But I'm learning. I'm still learning how to be a good spouse in 2025 after 2 failed marriages. Us guys seem to learn the hard way, always the hard way. Thank you, Diane Beck. Thank you, Todd Bradshaw, so much. I appreciate that. Gail George and everybody else. Nancy DeMarco, John Anderson, Mary Ann Rossi, not Donna Rossi, and all the rest. Tessie. Yeah, you never know for sure, Tess, but I feel that the source that I am quoting in that shocking new Elvis info video is a man of integrity. He's a man of integrity. You can usually tell a poser. So make it a good Monday, and we'll talk to you Wednesday night. Jack Willis saying a big God bless you. Bye-bye for now.